Hello everyone. Welcome to the third session of the unit Determination of Income and Employment of Macroeconomics Class 12th. If we recall, in the previous section, we had discussed about aggregate demand and its component, where aggregate demand is the sum total of C plus I plus G plus your net export. C is your private consumption expenditure. I was your private investment in expenditure. Then we talked about G, that is government consumption expenditure, and government consumption expenditure included two things. The consumption government expenditure included two things: consumption expenditure and investment expenditure, and then net exports, that is exports minus imports. Then in the second session we had just introduced the concept of propensity to consume. Now today again, we will be discussing about this topic, propensity to consume, and introducing this concept of propensity to save, both average and marginal. So just recapitulate what we did in the last session. The term is average propensity to consume. We know that average propensity to consume refers to the ratio of consumption expenditure to the corresponding level of income. So average propensity to consume is consumption divided by your total income. The example is that if consumption expenditure is rupees 70 crore at the national income of rupees 100 crore, then average propensity to consume will be, we know that average propensity to consume is consumption divided by income. So rupees 70 crore divided by 100 crore is equal to 0.70. That means 70% of the income is spent on consumption. I think this is very much clear to all of us, the meaning of average propensity to consume and how it is calculated. So if we see that schedule uh, that we have started with, income हमारी 0 है, consumption 40, तो average propensity to consume is C, consumption upon income. So 40 upon 0 is not defined, so we have just left this as blank. Then income, when income is 100, consumption is 120, so average propensity to consume is 120 divided by 100, that is 1.2. Then income is 200, consumption is 200, so 200 divided by 200, average propensity to consume is 1. Then when income is 300, consumption is now 280, so average propensity to consume is 280 divided by 300, which is equal to 0.93. And when income is 400, consumption level is 360 crores. So average propensity to consume is 360 divided by 400, which is equal to 0.9. Now, if you see the tendency of this average propensity to consume, it is falling. It is falling, and at the break even point it is equal to 1. That means all the income which is earned is spent on consumption. So let's discuss some important points about average propensity to consume. The average propensity to consume is more than 1 as long as consumption is more than the national income. That is, before the break even point, average propensity to consume is greater than 1. And we had discussed it in the last session also, that where your consumption is greater than your income, that means we are doing some dis saving. हम कुछ पार्ट, अगर मेरी कंजम्पशन ज्यादा है बेटा, नेशनल इनकम कम है, तो यानी कि मैं कुछ डिस सेविंग कर रही हूँ. तो कंजम्पशन अगर ज्यादा है, इनकम कम है, न्यूमरेटर इज ग्रेटर देन दी डिनोमिनेटर, तो डेफिनेटली एवरेज प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम ग्रेटर देन 1 आएगी. ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट पे, जहां पर कंजम्पशन इज इक्वल टू योर इनकम, दिस इज माय ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट एट 200 रुपीज 200 करोड़ लेवल, यहाँ पर जितनी मेरी इनकम अर्न हो रही है वो सारी की सारी कंज्यूम हो रही है. दैट इज व्हाई दिस पॉइंट इज ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट. तो सिंस न्यूमरेटर एंड डिनोमिनेटर इज सेम 200 200, so average propensity to consume at break even point will be 1. The third important point about average propensity to consume is that it is going to be less than 1 beyond the break even point. अब लेस देन 1 क्यों हो रहा है बियॉन्ड द ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट? क्योंकि बेटा जैसे जैसे हमारी इनकम इंक्रीज होती जाती है, हम उस रेट पर अपनी कंजम्पशन को इंक्रीज नहीं करते हैं. Our consumption increases less than proportionately than the rate of increase in our income. That is why average propensity to consume is less than 1 beyond the break even point, क्योंकि हमारा numerator is less than our denominator. consumption कम होती है और income ज़्यादा होती है. तो that is why as a result average propensity to consume is less than 1. ये भी हमने पिछली स्लाइड में सॉल्व करके भी देख लिया. The fourth important point about average propensity to consume is that average propensity to consume falls with the increase in income. Yes, we had seen that average propensity to consume falls continuously with the increase in income because the proportion of income spent on consumption keeps on decreasing. तो क्या होता है, जब हम एक certain level पर आ जाते हैं, हमारी income increase होती है, consumption कम होती है और हमारी savings होनी ज़्यादा हो जाती हैं. ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट से पहले डिसेविंग्स होती हैं और ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट के बाद सेविंग्स होनी शुरू हो जाती हैं. दैट आल्सो वी हैव सीन इन आवर प्रीवियस स्लाइड्स. देन एवरेज प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम कैन नेवर बी जीरो. देखिए इसका सबसे बड़ा रीजन यही है कि एवरेज प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम जीरो कभी नहीं हो सकती. रीजन बीइंग कि कंजम्पशन कभी जीरो नहीं होती, क्योंकि इवन इफ द इनकम इज जीरो, हमारी इनकम अगर जीरो भी होती है तो वी हैड सर्टन ऑटोनोमस कंजम्पशन. ओसी आप फिगर में दे सकते हो. ओसी इज द लेवल ऑफ ऑटोनोमस कंजम्पशन. क्योंकि हमारी कंजम्पशन कभी जीरो नहीं होगी तो हमारी एवरेज प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम कैन नेवर बी जीरो. सो देयरफॉर average propensity to consume can be zero only when consumption becomes zero. However, consumption is never zero at any level of income. Even at zero level of national income, there is autonomous consumption. Next is, let's come to the next concept, marginal propensity to consume. Marginal propensity to consume refers to the ratio of change in the consumption expenditure to the change in total income. That is, marginal propensity to consume explains what proportion of change in income is spent on consumption. अगर आप रिकॉल करिए, लास्ट सेशन में भी हमने इसको डिस्कस किया था. मार्जिनल प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम हमें बताती है कि हमारी कंजम्पशन में कितना चेंज आया है बिकॉज ऑफ चेंज इन इनकम. एंड द फॉर्मूला फॉर कैलकुलेटिंग मार्जिनल प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम इज ऑल्सो द सेम, चेंज इन कंजम्पशन अपॉन चेंज इन इनकम. लेट अस explain it with the help of example. अगर हमारा consumption expenditure, if it is increasing from 70 crores to 110 crores with an increase in income from rupees 100 crores to 200 crores, then marginal propensity to consume is equal to change in consumption upon change in income. अब आप change in consumption क्या होगी? 110 minus 70 which is equal to 40. और change in income क्या होगी? 200 minus 100 which is equal to 100. It is equal to, when I am going to solve 40 upon 100, I am going to get 0.40. That is 40% of incremental income is spent on consumption. यानी कि जो 40% जो मेरी total income increase हुई है उसमें से सिर्फ 40% increased income consumption पे spend हुई है. Now see, again the same schedule we are referring over here. Now you can see that at every level of increase in income is increasing by 100. From 0 to 100, change in income is 100. From 100 to 100, change in income is again 100. Change in income is shown in the fourth column. So you can see that this change in income every time is 100. Now see the next column, consumption, where consumption is increasing from 40 to 120. So change in consumption is 80. 120 minus 40 is 80. Again, the next level, 200 minus 120 is change in consumption 80. 280 minus 200 crores rupees, change in consumption is again 80. So at every level of income, the change in consumption is also 80. So if I calculate marginal propensity to consume, it is going to be 80 divided by 100, that is change in consumption. upon change in income I'm going to get 0.80. Fine. And this is how and basically marginal propensity to consume बेटा और कुछ नहीं होता. marginal propensity to consume कंजम्पशन फंक्शन का स्लोप होता है. क्योंकि हम कभी भी किसी लाइन का स्लोप हम कैसे निकालते हैं, चेंज इन वाई अपॉन चेंज इन एक्स. चेंज इन वाई पे हम क्या शो कर रहे हैं, कंजम्पशन. तो चेंज इन कंजम्पशन अपॉन एक्स में क्या शो कर रहे हैं, income. Upon change in income is marginal propensity to consume. So the important points about marginal propensity to consume is that value of marginal propensity to consume varies between 0 and 1. See, we know that incremental income is either spent on consumption or saved for future use. जितनी भी मेरे बेटा इनकम में इंक्रीज हो रहा है, या तो वो कंजम्पशन पे स्पेंड होगा या हम उस इंक्रीमेंटल इनकम को सेव कर लेंगे. सो इफ द एंटायर एडिशनल इनकम इज कंज्यूम्ड, दैट मीन्स चेंज इन सेविंग इज जीरो. अगर मेरी सारी जितनी भी इंक्रीमेंटल इनकम है अगर वो सारी की सारी कंजम्पशन पे स्पेंड हो गई, यानी कि मेरी चेंज इन सेविंग इज जीरो, दैट मीन्स माय मार्जिनल प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम विल बी इक्वल टू 1. 1 क्यों होगी, क्योंकि जितना मेरा चेंज इन इनकम हुआ है उतना ही मेरा चेंज इन कंजम्पशन हुआ है, यानी कि न्यूमरेटर विल बी इक्वल टू योर डिनोमिनेटर. देन this fraction, the value of this fraction will be 1, यानी कि marginal propensity to consume 1 होगी. But if the entire additional income is saved, यानी कि मैंने कुछ भी कंज्यूम नहीं की है एडिशनल इनकम, मैंने सारी एडिशनल इनकम को सेव कर दिया, तो यानी कि जो मेरा न्यूमरेटर है चेंज इन कंजम्पशन दैट विल बी जीरो. So if the entire additional income is saved, change in consumption will be zero. Then marginal propensity to consume will be zero. अगर मेरा बेटा न्यूमरेटर जीरो हो गया, चेंज इन कंजम्पशन जीरो है, क्यों, क्योंकि मैंने सारी इंक्रीमेंटल इनकम को सेव कर लिया है. तो न्यूमरेटर will be zero, so my whole fraction will be zero. So marginal propensity to consume is zero. In normal situations, therefore we says that marginal propensity to consume varies between 0 and 1. So just to recapitulate, सबसे पहले marginal propensity to consume कुछ नहीं है, slope of consumption curve है, which is represented by change in consumption upon change in income. और the second point which we have discussed, ये हमने बात की है कि आपका जो चेंज इन कंजम्पशन है और चेंज इन इनकम जो कि रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है मार्जिनल प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम से, इसकी वैल्यू हमेशा 0 और 1 के बीच में लाई करती है. नाउ टू प्रोसीड फर्दर, marginal propensity to consume of poor is more than that of rich. ठीक है, अब क्यों होता है ऐसा, marginal propensity जो poor persons की होती है वो ज्यादा rich लोगों से इसलिए होती है because poor people spend a greater percentage of their increased income on consumption. है ना, जो उनकी increased income होती है, change in income का greater percentage they will spend on consumption as most of their basic needs remain unsatisfied. क्योंकि वो ऑलरेडी पुअर होते हैं, उनकी पहले भी बेसिक नीड्स अनसेटिस्फाइड थी, तो अब they will spend more, they will spend more on consumption. So much of the incremental income is spent on incremental consumption. तो marginal propensity to consume जो poor strata होता है of the society, poor people, that is more than that of the rich. On the other hand, rich people spend a smaller portion as they already enjoy a higher standard of living. Rich people, they are already enjoying higher standard of living. तो उनका जो marginal propensity to consume होता है वो less होता है. Why? Because change in consumption will be less than your change in income. जो rich people हैं, they will spend more in saving. I mean, they will consume most of their incremental income in saving. So, marginal propensity to consume of developing countries like India, Bangladesh, etc. is more than marginal propensity to consume of developed countries like America or England. Next point about marginal propensity to consume is marginal propensity to consume falls with successive increase in income. आप ये data, you can see this graph that with the increase in income, see your income is increasing from 0 to 100, then from 100 to 200 level, and this is represented in dollar billions. So from 0 to 100 billion dollars, from 100 to 200 billion dollars, so the change in income is 100 billion dollars, whereas the change in consumption, see here it's 0.90, that means the change in consumption is 90. Here the next level the change in consumption is 80, the next level the change in consumption is 70. और ये इसलिए हो रहा है बेटा क्योंकि आपकी जो अभी हमने लास्ट स्लाइड में डिस्कस किया, जो रिच कंट्रीज होती हैं उनमें जो इंक्रीमेंटल कंजम्पशन होती है वो कम होती है, रीजन बीइंग they are already rich, so they are already enjoying a higher standard of living. So with the increase in income they will increase their spending, and very small portion of their incremental income will be spent on consumption. I hope this point is clear to all of you. Let's move to the next topic, that is saving function or propensity to save. See, saving is also a function of income. That is, saving also depends upon the level of income. हमारे पास अगर income, if our income is more than our is more than our consumption, है ना, the part of income which is not consumed is saved. So saving is the excess of income over consumption expenditure. मेरी income में से if I'll subtract the consumption expenditure, the leftover is nothing but savings. So saving function refers to the functional relationship between saving and national income. So we can write that saving is a function of your national income. So this is a saving function. S is equal to F function of your Y. Y stands for national income. Or you can say it's a propensity to save, which shows the savings of the household at a given level of income during a given time period. Now this is the saving function schedule. See, this is my income at income level 0 when consumption is 40, that is my autonomous consumption. तो बेटा ये कंजम्पशन कहाँ से होगी, हमको डिस सेविंग करनी पड़ेगी 40 crores की. At income level 0, again I am repeating, अगर consumption is 40 crores, so that means ये 40 crores कहाँ से आएंगे, we have to do dis savings. Then when income is 100 crore, consumption is 120 crores. So अब again the consumption is greater than the income. अब ये 20 crores का gap हम कहाँ से fill up करेंगे? Obviously from the dis savings. Then at break even point, when income is 200, consumption is also 200 crores, so saving is nil. So this is my break even point. Now let us see the graph simultaneously. Now OS is nothing but the autonomous saving or dis saving. Fine, I should say the exact term should be dis saving because of autonomous consumption, and this is being represented in the negative. This is the negative portion of the y-axis. So this I'm going to show it on the negative portion of the y-axis, and at this point, that is at point R, this is break-even point, because here at this point your income is equal to consumption and savings are nil. But beyond this break-even point, you can see the saving curve. When income is 300, consumption is 280 crores. So that means there is a saving of 20 crores. So now the saving curve has entered into the positive portion. Fine, the positive portion of this graph. Then when the income is 400, consumption is 360. Again, we are left with 40 crores, and 40 crores are nothing but the savings. So if I plot this minus 40 at the income level 0, at the income level 100 crore, minus 20, this is going to be somewhat here, at income level 200, savings are 0, so this is point R. At income level 300, savings are 20, maybe somewhere on this point. You can see the cursor somewhere on this point on the savings curve. And when I join these points, I'm going to get a saving curve. Now, starting point of saving curve that is SS starts from a point S on y-axis, indicating that there is negative savings equal to the amount of autonomous consumption when national income is 0. So this is OS is the level of dissaving, and this is equal to my autonomous consumption. Slope of saving curve SS has a positive slope, which indicates that positive relationship exists between savings and income. और हम देख भी रहे हैं बेटा that आप ये देखिए जो saving curve है that is positively sloped. पॉजिटिवली स्लोप का मतलब जैसे जैसे हमारी इनकम इंक्रीज होती जा रही है वैसे वैसे हमारी सेविंग्स भी इंक्रीज होती जा रही हैं. सो इट इंडिकेट्स अ पॉजिटिव रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन सेविंग्स एंड इनकम. Then at break even point, saving is equal to 0. Why? Because all the increased income is consumed, so there are no savings. So according to this figure 7.6, break even point occurs corresponding to the income level of rupees 200 crores. And there are positive savings after the break even point, that is saving function is positive. Now, the next concept is average propensity to consume. See, just like we had learned about average propensity to consume, this next concept is similar. Average propensity to save is similar to average propensity to consume. Average propensity to save refers to the ratio of savings to the corresponding level of income. And how we are going to calculate it? We are going to divide the total savings by the total income. See, if the savings is rupees 30 crore at national income of rupees 100 crores, then average propensity to save is 30 upon 100, which is equal to 0.30. That is 30% of the income is saved. So this is the concept of average propensity to save, just similar to the concept of average propensity to consume. Again, if I'll plot this, I'm going to get this such type of a curve. Now, average propensity to consume, you can see, we know that it is savings upon my income. So when savings are minus 40 divided by 0 income, again, anything divided by 0 is not defined. So at first level, income level 0, APS is nil. Now, when savings, when there are dis savings of 20 crore at income level 100, so minus 20 upon 100 is going to give me minus 0.20. When savings are 0 at the income level 200, so 0 upon 200 is going to give me average propensity to consume 0. This is my break even point. And then when savings are 20 at the income level 300, so average propensity to consume is 0.0667. And then when savings are 40 at the income level 400, so 40 divided by 400 is going to give me 0.1. So if you see your average propensity to consume, it is increasing. Previously it was 0, it was negative, then it reached to the level 0, then some positive figures are there, 0.0667 and then 0.1. So we can just observe by these figure and by graph 2 that the average propensity to consume is increasing. Let's discuss some important point about average propensity to save. See, average propensity to save can never be 1. or more than 1, as saving can never be equal to or more than the national income. See, savings can never be equal to the national income, because we know that we are going to consume some part of it. We were having consumption, हमारे पास तो consumption तब भी थी जब income level 0 था. तो ऐसा कभी भी नहीं होगा कि मेरी सेविंग सारी की सारी मेरी जो नेशनल इनकम है वो सेव हो जाए, क्योंकि a part of national income is always going to be spent on consumption. Average propensity to save can be zero. ये तो हम देख ही चुके हैं. Average propensity to consume, to save, APS, will be zero at the income level of 200, यानी कि at break even point, जहां पर मेरी इनकम जो है वो कंजम्पशन के इक्वल है, यानी कि सेविंग जीरो है. तो अगर सेविंग जीरो है तो एवरेज प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम विल आल्सो बी जीरो एट दिस पॉइंट. एवरेज प्रोपेंसिटी टू सेव कैन बी नेगेटिव और लेस देन 1. ये भी हमने पिछली स्लाइड में देख लिया. इट कैन बी नेगेटिव, रीजन बीइंग दैट देयर आर सर्टेन डिस सेविंग्स. जब न्यूमरेटर में नेगेटिव फिगर होगी बेटा, तो डेफिनेटली मेरी जो एवरेज प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम होगा दैट कैन बी नेगेटिव और लेस देन 1. at income level which are lower than the break even point. Yes, and this happened at the income level which is lower than the break even point. break even point से पहले डिस सेविंग्स हो रही है ना, तो इस लेवल पर मेरी एवरेज प्रोपेंसिटी टू सेव will be less than 1. So average propensity to save can be negative as there will be dis savings in the economy. यानी कि इस पोर्शन में एवरेज प्रोपेंसिटी टू सेव विल बी लेस देन 1, एंड एवरेज प्रोपेंसिटी टू सेव rises with increase in income. You can see that this saving function is positively sloped. Average propensity to save भी increase होता रहेगा, because जैसे जैसे मेरी income increase होगी तो my savings will also increase. So average propensity to save rises with increase in income because the proportion of income saved keeps on increasing. हमने जब हम कंजम्पशन की बात करी थी बेटा, यहाँ पे रिकॉल कर लेते, जब कंजम्पशन की बात करी थी हम कह रहे थे कि इंक्रीज इनकम के साथ इंक्रीज कंजम्पशन फॉल होती रहती है, और यहाँ पर अगर इंक्रीज कंजम्पशन फॉल होगी तो इंक्रीज इनकम मेरी increase savings increase होंगी. Fine. So this is what it is being talked about here, that proportion of income saved keeps on increasing. That is why average propensity to save will rise with increase in income. I hope all these important points about average propensity to save is clear to all of you. Now, just like we had discussed marginal propensity to consume, on a similar line, we have got the concept of marginal propensity to save. So, marginal propensity to save refers to the ratio of change in savings to change in total income. यानी कि marginal propensity to save अगर मुझे calculate करना है तो हम कैसे करेंगे? Change in savings will be divided by change in income. Let's take this example. If savings increase from rupees 30 crore to rupees 90 crore with an increase in income from rupees 100 to rupees 200 crore, then marginal propensity to save is, see, 90 minus 30 is change in savings is 60. Change in income is 200 minus 100, which is equal to 100. So 60 divided by 100 is equal to 0.60. That is 60% of the incremental income is saved for future. यानी कि हमने 60% of the incremental income future के लिए save कर ली है. Now, this is how the schedule and the graph of marginal propensity to save is going to look like. Again, marginal propensity to save बेटा कुछ नहीं है, जो saving function है, जो saving curve है, उसका slope है ना? क्योंकि slope of any line is given by change in y upon change in x. y एक्सिस पर हम सेविंग्स डिनोट कर रहे हैं, x एक्सिस पे हम इनकम डिनोट कर रहे हैं. तो change in y means change in savings, change in X means change in income. So change in savings upon change in income is nothing but marginal propensity to save. Now in the first column, again the same schedule is here. In the first column we are showing the income, second column saving, third column change in savings. If you see that change in saving at every level of income is 20. See, minus 40, if you are changing to, the savings are changed to minus 20, so that means there is change in savings of 20. Kaise? Minus 20 plus minus 40 is going to give me 20. Then 0 minus 20 is going to again give me the figure of change in savings as 20. 20 minus 0 will give me 20, and then 40 minus 20 will give me 20. And change in income, we know it's 100. So marginal propensity to save is 20 upon 100 at every level of your income, which is equal to 0.20. So if we look upon the features or the some important points about marginal propensity to save, first point is, since marginal propensity to save measures the slope of the saving curve, constant value of MPS means that the saving curve is a straight line. See, whenever there is a straight line, fine, the slope of that line or that curve will be a constant value. तो हमारी कांस्टेंट वैल्यू आई है, हमने लास्ट स्लाइड में देखा हमारे जो एमपीएस है वो 0.2 आ रहा है, यानी कि दिस स्लोप इज कांस्टेंट and we can very well see that the saving curve is a straight line. MPS varies between 0 and 1. Fine, marginal propensity to save भी 0 और 1 के बीच में lie करता है. If the entire additional income is saved, which is not possible, but if it is saved, that is your change in consumption is equal to 0. और अगर change in consumption equal to 0 है, यानी कि मेरा जो change in S है, that will be equal to your change in Y. So marginal propensity to save is equal to 1. If the entire, next point, if the entire additional income is consumed, that is your change in saving will be 0. और अगर saving मेरी change in saving 0 है, यानी कि मेरा न्यूमरेटर MPS का 0 है. So अगर न्यूमरेटर 0 है तो MPS will be 0. In normal situations, value of MPS varies from 0 to 1. It will vary from 0 to 1. The last topic of the day, let's learn about the relationship between marginal propensity to consume and average propensity to consume. The sum of average propensity to consume and average propensity to save is equal to 1, and this can be proved. See, let us see how. See, we know that income is either consumed or saved. So Y is equal to C plus S. Now, dividing both the sides of this equation by Y, we are going to get Y divided by Y is equal to C upon Y plus S upon Y. Now, Y upon Y is 1, C upon Y is APC, and S upon Y is APS. So that is why we have concluded that APC plus APS is equal to 1. That is, income is either used for consumption or for savings. Let's see the relationship between MPC and MPS. Again, very easy relationship to prove. We know that the sum of APC and MPS is equal to 1. We are going to prove this as under, again, see, change in income is equal to change in consumption plus change in saving. देखिए जो इनकम में चेंज आता है, जो इंक्रीमेंटल इनकम होती है, या तो वो कंज्यूम होती है या वो सेव होती है. दैट मीन्स चेंज इन इनकम इज इक्वल टू चेंज इन कंजम्पशन अपॉन चेंज इन सेविंग. Dividing both the sides of this equation By change in y, we are going to get change in y upon change in y, which is equal to 1. Change in C upon change in Y is nothing but marginal propensity to consume, and change in S upon change in Y is equal to marginal propensity to save. We have just learned all these formulas in today's class. So that is why marginal propensity to consume plus marginal propensity to save is equal to 1, because total increment in income is either used for consumption or for savings. That's all for today from my side. I hope all the concepts which we have discussed today, that is average propensity to consume and marginal propensity to consume, average propensity to save and marginal propensity to save, and the relationship between average propensity to consume and marginal propensity to consume, and the last relationship, that is marginal propensity to consume and marginal propensity to save, is clear to all of you. If you have any query, you can drop your question at our WhatsApp number, which is given in the slide. Thank you all. Thank you very much.